Merrimack, and welcome to another edition of Chattin' with Janine. I'm your host, State Representative Janine Nodder. M&Ms are a Halloween favorite. Two of my favorite state representatives are M&M, Melissa and Mary, and today on this episode we have Representative Mary Mayville, and returning to the show, she was here last week, and Representative Melissa Blasek. Did I say your name correctly?
You did. Awesome. Very good.
Welcome back, Mary, and welcome, Melissa.
Thank
you were on 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't tape as much during the year anymore.
Well, you get busy with legislating.
Yes, exactly. But you know, this campaign season, there's been a lot of misinformation out there and a lot of misinformation, accusing misinformation. So we're going to take one of those lies at the start of the show. You've been called a secessionist. Guess what? That's baloney. She is not a secessionist.
Not a secessionist.
Let's set the record straight, Melissa.
Right. CACR 32 was the bill for secession, and I did vote against that bill. I have never supported secession.
Yes,
I've been
but
very
who voted?
vocal about that.
Who voted to keep that bill alive?
Oh, right. Every Democrat in the House voted to keep that bill from being tabled. In other words, to keep it alive.
Every Democrat.
Every single Democrat. I voted to table the bill, and then when that failed, I voted to kill that bill. There is we can say her name. Representative Rung has been calling me a secessionist. She found some outright libel, an anonymous blog post, some trash thing on the internet that said that I liked secession, but I was afraid of it, which is absurd. And I never said that. But she keeps spreading that around. So
Right, and I had a voter tell me that he's not going to vote for that Melissa because she's a secessionist. I said, oh no, whatever you heard, she is lying.
Yes.
Melissa is not she was born in New Hampshire.
Yep.
She did not sponsor that bill or co-sponsor it, and she didn't vote for it.
No.
The other word that's bandied about is free stater.
Yeah, free stater.
Right, free stater.
Listen, I believe in limited government. That's not it's a very popular thing in New Hampshire. Most of us do. I'm not part of the Free State Project. I never have been. I was born in Manchester. I was raised in Derry. And I've never lived or voted outside of New Hampshire. So there we go.
All
a
right.
conservative Republican, I might call you.
Yes.
Yes.
How about a
and so are we.
constitutionalist? Yes, I like that. Yep.
Now, Mary, you're going to take the misinformation too. The lies about Don Bolduc.
Oh, yes. Well, there's a lot of money pouring into the state that really wants to bash our pick, the next U.S. Senator for New Hampshire, which is the General Don Bolduc. And as a military veteran, I take umbrage at that. I really am offended that some of the commercials that are coming in from the Democratic Party are painting Don Bolduc as someone who is anti-abortion, anti-women, anti-choice, anti-everything. It's all wrong. And he, as a federal level senator, has already said, look, the Supreme Court took care of that. They took care of it for a reason, because it needs to come back to the states, which is right where it is. And we've already made that law, and we're going nowhere else with it. We believe, like many states, we're actually probably one of the more liberal states when it comes to a woman's right to choose to do what she wants to do with her body. And we're at 24 weeks. And as a neonatal intensive care nurse who's taken care of 24-week babies, I can tell you, we are going to continue to take care of those babies. And so I'm just really disappointed that we're hearing over and over again about Don Bolduc. And as women, frankly, we'll say this too. It's insulting to women that we've come down to one issue that's called a woman's issue. Because as strong women in the legislature, it's
a hard word. Yeah.
We know that things that we're concerned about are about our families and about inflation and the economy and the gas tax.
Mm-hmm.
The gas tax, yes.
Do we have a graphic to go with the gas tax?
Oh, yes. Okay.
All right, Mary, you're on.
No, Melissa.
Yeah, so I've been working on a bill with Representative Andrew Prout, and we have already filed it. There was a big gas tax hike under the Hassan years. I call it the Hassan gas tax hike. And the bill is to roll that back. So essentially that gas tax was attached to a bond for a specific project. And it was already set to sunset when the bond was paid off. So our idea is to offset we can't pay off the bond early, but to offset the taxes with the surplus, and therefore so that you can see relief at the pump, hopefully sooner rather than later.
I read about that, and I saw that they were talking about some of the revenue, which they were, expounding that it was going to be pretty significant, but it was to repair state roads in 2015 and 16.
Yeah.
We're in 22.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
If that graphic is still up, I think it's worth mentioning. I meet a lot of people, you do too, knocking on doors, that absolutely hate our last president. But hate him or not, look, this is the reality of what things were like when he was in office compared to now.
We're seeing the new tax now of inflation. Inflation is a tax on everything and everybody.
Even produce. I have to look to see what's on sale so I can make soup this week. I'm getting tired of it. I want the free world back. I hate socialism. I hate it. There's just not enough of anything.
Well, they've been spending like drunken sailors in D.C. and printing and printing and printing, and now we have a inflation tax.
So if diamonds were as plentiful as grains of sand on the beach, what would they be worth? Nothing. So that's why they shouldn't be printing so much money. So it's an easy way to understand it. Oh, you know what? I do not spend a lot of time navigating social media because I just don't have time. I don't know how some people can spend all day long on social media, twittering away and commenting and whatever. But I did notice this morning when I just scrolled because I got up early and I had to wait for the coffee. Somebody was saying that the Democrat representative in Merrimack voted for an income tax. And of course, nobody believed the guy. They said, oh, and what bill was that? He goes, well, I can't find it. I'm like, oh, guess what? I have it. Well, there was more than one, but one I can definitely point you to is Senate Bill 1 from 2019. Look it up. There's an income tax in there. I voted against it.
That's
She
right.
did not.
Your entire Republican Merrimack delegation is we are all committed to never voting for a sales or income tax, period.
Right.
No.
Okay.
Most of our governors are as well. They signed the pledge. So,
Yes.
Yeah. We think that people know how to manage their money the best, and that the government or the state doesn't need to take your money and figure out how to spend it for you. And I think we've all been pretty vocal about that, to say, look, people are pretty smart in general, and if they're not, we're going to take care of them. If they need help, we're going to take care of them, and we are taking care of them with the that bill that we sent
Fuel
through.
assistance.
Yep, the fuel assistance bill. So if you're not aware of that, can you refresh me where to find the information?
Off the top of my head, I cannot. But
I think it's each town has a site that you can go to specific to that.
I think you're right.
The fuel assistance program that's been in place already, and it allows people who need some help with their fuel for the winter to go back and get some help for that. So
right, I know the money came from the surplus, and we have a huge surplus, and we didn't drain the surplus. We used a very small part of it to help people out, because the assistance that you were talking about that at town hall comes from property tax. By using some of the surplus, that's less money coming from the property tax, which is why I voted for it. Because at first it looks like, oh, a subsidy. But then when I heard about the property tax, I'm like, okay, this does make sense. So
again,
not everyone will agree.
people know how to take care of themselves, and that can segue us right into why parents are the most important person in their child's life.
There you go.
Yes, we have to remove this ever-increasing wedge of government between parents and children. Parents know their children best. They are biologically programmed to love them and care for them, and they should have the say-so in their children's education and every part of their lives, including their health care.
Let me say something about
Yes, about healthcare, yes.
So this is something that Melissa and I actually have been thinking, we're going to move forward with some legislation on it. And it's related to the rights of a parent to have access to your child's online medical record. If you have a child who is 11 years old or younger, you probably are not aware of this because you have continued to get your child's care the way that you always do. You've probably accessed a portal through Southern New Hampshire Health Systems or Elliott or Catholic or any of the systems that you use, and you go on and you check your child's medical record. You make appointments through that portal. You look at the radiology reports, you look at the laboratory reports. And as a nurse, I can tell you that it is very complicated. And as a parent, and Melissa and Janine and I, we're all parents, we know how difficult it is to sometimes access the system and then to understand the system as a grown-up. Now, if your child is 12 years old and you live in a variety of states, Michigan, California, New York, some of the healthcare organizations in Iowa, and of several other states, when your child turns 12, you no longer are able to access that child's medical record. 12 years old.
12.
So I don't know about you, but I had 5 12-year-olds, and not one of them was capable of moving into an online form and understand what their radiological reports related to potential aortic aneurysm and a bulging of the. They simply weren't capable of doing that. So the proponents of this, and it actually came from the 2000 era HIPAA law, says that your child is now at the age where there could be some confidential information in their medical record. And by law, you, parents, guardians, shouldn't have access to it. And that's why we make the switch from a full account to a limited account when your child is 12.
Yes. So I actually did. I have a 4-year-old, so I am not at this
She's
stage
so
yet.
cute. She's
Thank
got
you.
the cutest little 4-year-old.
Thank you. But I was at a hearing for a bill, and it was running behind. Well, my bill was running behind, right? And I heard somebody else, though, talking about how her medical practice in New Hampshire, she lost access to her children's medical records through that practice at 12. And they had to switch practices because it's not a statewide law, but individual practices are already kind of bending to this pressure from the federal government to make that switch. And I'm sorry, a 12-year-old is simply incapable of handling those types of things, nor do I think that there needs to or should ever be secrets between parents and children. That's absurd.
Right.
You know what this reminds me of? When I was in high school, the school librarian was from Cuba. They escaped Cuba when had the communist uprising. And she said, Janine, they take your children away when they're this big and indoctrinate them to be communists. Mm-hmm. And that's what communism is. The state owns the children. And that's not the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's, we all agree, I think, that there are some very sensitive issues out there that children need to be able to perhaps provide consent for a specific procedure or for their sexual health or for some types of testing. Or if they're a minor parent, of a baby, perhaps they need to be able to, provide care for their newborn baby. And I've seen that as a labor and delivery nurse for 37 years.
Mm-hmm. And she was a colonel too in the Air Force. Yeah, Colonel Mary.
But when you're looking at parents and guardians that are blocked from viewing information like, I'll read the list, and this is legitimate, the list, from their primary care, from their adolescent medicine, from their gynecology, from issues like sexual health, sexually transmitted infections, substance use, mental health. I really don't think as a parent that my 12-year-old is capable of understanding what that means. And I think that as a loving, caring parent like most of us, all of us, the rare exception might not be, that we have an obligation to take care of our children until we die or they die.
Right.
Honestly.
Right. I think it's this prevailing attitude in society that somehow parents are guilty until proven innocent. Right? And that's why, we can't let them know these things because they might do something bad to the child. There are lots of, any adult in a child's life, frankly, could abuse them in some way. I frankly think that it is less likely that the person who's biologically programmed to love and care for them would actually be that person. And if we're going to err on which rights we have, I want to err on the side of the parent.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I brought some photos along. Just segue into them. There's a palm card that we had made with Senator Daniels, because we're on the ballot too, and we're asking everyone to vote for our whole ticket, the whole Republican ballot. not just one or two, but vote for all of us. And this we will show again at the end of the program, so you can get a better look at it. But again, that's us. There's Mary, Colonel Representative Mary, and and Melissa out in front of the State House. One of the fourth graders today asked me if that's real gold. Yes, it is. 23 carats on top of the dome.
That's awesome.
And I just learned a fun trivia fact about that. When they were putting the new gold leaf on, the woman who was in charge of the plates that get pounded on, she was staying at the Holiday Inn across the way from the State House, and she kept those plates under her mattress every night to protect them.
That's amazing. Okay, this is how provincial I am, but I've only lived in New Hampshire. The only two state houses I think I've ever seen in person are Massachusetts and New Hampshire. They both have the gold dome. I guess I thought
all of them did.
All of them have a gold dome. And then I flew in a lot of experts for my bills this past year, and they just went, "Wow, I love the gold dome. That's amazing." And your state house doesn't have that?
Some of them don't.
No.
And in Alaska, I'm like, what? The bank over there? That's their state house?
We're very proud of our state house.
Yes.
Oh, there we are with our signs. We match our signs. Well, no, I don't match my sign. I usually try to wear green when I'm campaigning, but...
And if you haven't been, oftentimes in session we have visitors and honored guests that can sit up in the galley, and when you come...
Galley.
It's a galley. I call it the galley.
I call it the peanut gallery.
Well, it's a galley, but it's upstairs, and it's really, really impressive when you're sitting up there and you come and you are introduced in front of all 400 New Hampshire representatives, and we stand up and clap for you, and when you're our guest, we'll cheer for you. So talk to Janine.
Contact us.
So talk to Janine. Chat. No, we chatting. It's very informal.
Chat with Janine. Yeah.
All right, I have in my notes 988. What does that mean?
Oh, so that was supposed to be my segue from talking about mental health and just health in general, because again, that's been my life forever. But if you're not aware, there is a new phone number that you can call. It's similar to our 911 for emergency services, but it is the 988 number. It is nationwide now, and that is directly to our National Suicide and Crisis Mental Health Lifeline. So if you have a friend or a neighbor, or someone who's in crisis and doesn't need the fire department or the police, the criminal justice or the fire department, you just need some help. 988 is the 3-digit, easy to remember number to call. And as I said during the last show, we do have Merrimack, repping out there as our own former police chief, Mark Doyle, who was really involved with that in a statewide issue.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you did mention that last week. Yeah. All right, free for all.
Oh, free for all.
Free for all. What other bills do you have coming forward?
Oh my goodness!
Keep it down to one or two or 10.
Putting me on the spot. Actually, let's talk a little bit about this. So, kind of going back to the abortion issue, and they always try to make this into that, my body, my choice. Well, frankly, the Republicans are the party of my body, my choice. This past year, we had a ton of medical freedom legislation, and we were the only party to support it. Democrats, without exception, did not support your right to decide what medications you take. Which honestly, in law, there's sort of this idea of negative versus positive rights, right? So, and negative rights always outweighing positive rights. So if we have a right to have an abortion, that would be a positive right, then we certainly have the right to not have a medical procedure if we wish. So we made a lot of headway on that last year, and we have some more, we're going to make some more shots at it this year. Of course, I'm like blanking.
Yeah, I know, that happens.
We were talking last time about just committee work, because sometimes you're not aware of all the extra work that we do.
Yeah.
You may see the sessions where we're yay or nay voting, but there's so much work that goes on behind the scenes. And
right.
I'm on the Recreation Resources and Development Committee, but I don't know
Are
which
you
committee
in Public
you're on.
Works?
I'm on Public Works.
Okay.
Oh,
What do you do?
you're our one yes vote for Merrimack.
That's true. I was the one
and Bill
yesterday
Boyd.
for the Merrimack toll bill. Yeah.
Bill Boyd, was he?
He wasn't on there yet. That was before.
Before he was elected.
Yeah,
okay.
before he was elected. So yeah, I'm on Public Works, and we build the roads.
I know. You're our only friend.
I know. We build the roads. We deal with the toll bills. We name bridges. You want to talk about your bridge bill?
I do have a bridge bill for the late Representative Dick Hinch, who was the Speaker of the House, and I put all of our names on it and also the leadership. Mm-hmm. So
fantastic. Good.
That's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So you work pretty closely with the Department of Transportation then?
Yes, they're in there a lot. Yeah, it's on a super demanding committee. We are in charge of the part of the budget, right? The part of the budget that specifically deals with building the roads.
Well, as long I've been in rep for 12 years, and in all 12 years, I think you're the first one that's been a friend to Merrimack on that committee.
There is a little bit of a thing there, isn't there?
Right. I mean, every year for as long as I've been in, there's been a bill every year to get rid of the tolls. And before me, in the Bob LaRue and Chris Christensen days, they tried to get rid of the tolls. I remember putting in a bill just to stop the collection at exit 12. Kill it right away.
Yep.
But then Senator Bragdon at the time was able to somehow do something with horse trading at the end of the year where, all right, well, we can help you with this bill if you tack this on. So that's how we got rid of exit 12.
Yeah.
Exit 11, there were bills put in, yes, and there was a lot of people taking credit for that have no right. They do not get the credit. When I had the governor on the show, I asked him point blank, who got rid of the tolls at exit 11? Mm-hmm. And on one of those forums, somebody was taking credit for it where credit wasn't due. So Bob Healy, Representative Bob Healy, who's also running for re-election, took that clip of the governor. Boom, there's your response. It was Dick Hinch in a private meeting with the governor.
Yes.
And they got rid of exit 11. Mm-hmm. And then exit 10, we owe our thanks to Senator Daniels because he put it in the budget.
That's right.
And then Public Works, it doesn't end. And now we have Bill too.
Yes.
By this time we had two friends on Public Works. They wanted to stick us with the upkeep of Continental Boulevard. So yes, there were people speaking on, in the House, but the House killed it. It was Senator Daniels we have to thank for not making Merrimack have to keep up.
Yeah, they're an interesting little town.
Yes,
we are.
And there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background.
It's that highway going right directly through town that just.
Well, there's some sibling rivalry that you must have it so good over there in Merrimack, which we do, that they just want to continue to tax us.
I know.
That's kind of the only controversy in Public Works, though. I mean, overall, it's like a pretty,
controversy.
We name the bridges. Sure, you want to name the bridge. That sounds nice. Yeah. But the only other controversy was the railroad bill.
Oh boy! Oh, can you talk?
Yeah,
about
let's talk
that?
a little bit about the
We have
railroad
4 minutes,
bill.
but I mean that was going to cost us millions and millions and millions of dollars.
So hypothetically, if we ever built this railroad with taxpayer funding, it would cost.
It was a commuter rail.
Yes.
High-speed commuter rail.
Yes. If we ever did build that, it would cost the town of Merrimack a lot of money.
Bill Boyd is good on this. I'll ask him to talk about this too.
And so we had a bill to preemptively say that any commuter rail that we built would not use taxpayer funding. The reality is commuter rails are just simply not popular enough to self-sustain without tax funding. And, well, good ideas should not require coercion. So if it was such a good idea...
I love that line.
it would not require taxpayer funding.
Say that again.
Good ideas do not require coercion.
Okay, the TCI bill, the Transportation Initiative.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it had to do with the way, and the reason, and so the fact of the matter remains that the reason that it was going to cost Merrimack so much money, in my understanding, is that there were some significant water pipe, sewage pipes that needed to be moved a significant amount of space away in order for the commuter rail to run. And it was, those pipes are coming directly through Merrimack. And I think it was to the tune of $11 million or something. It was like
there were estimates,
crazy.
but yeah, absolutely. So no, if they would like to build a commuter rail, it should not require taxpayer funding. That's all that bill was to do. Unfortunately, it got killed in the Senate. We are going to do it again.
Well, we're sending some House members over to the Senate.
Yeah,
so maybe we'll have some more friends over there to join Senator Daniels. Keep him
We have the best senator.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Well, because he listens to us.
He does.
No, but
Well-
he's an excellent vote, and he has principles, and he sticks to his guns, and he gets things done. Yep.
Well, it comes back to, strong women having, and I'm gonna say this, and I think that we have to have equal partnerships throughout. But and I'll circle right back down to the Don Bolduc issue because I am a fan, and I was so disappointed that our senator would not debate him. And as I said, I see no reason why a strong woman wouldn't debate any man on any stage for any reason like that we would. I think we can all go toe to toe with anybody. And I was very disappointed that our senator wouldn't go toe to toe with a candidate
Well, I
to
think
take her
they
job.
finally did.
They
but
did
he ate
finally
her for
get it.
lunch. Yeah, she did terrible.
One.
That's what I heard. I
Several
heard.
that there wasn't.
The Transportation Climate Initiative. That's what it was.
Oh,
the
okay.
TCI. I'm like, what the C? I forgot what that stands for. Transportation Climate Initiative. I spoke against that on the House floor, and the governor said I did a good job on that. I said if electric cars are such a good idea, then let the free market handle it.
That's right.
And,
That's right.
And people are buying them.
Yep.
So.
And now they might not because the price of electricity is so high.
Right, exactly. And when we have the blackouts and the brownouts, how are
Right.
they going to? Yeah, and
I
where
think
do they
you-
get those
I
batteries?
think-
And guess what? They can't make the batteries without fossil fuels.
I think you better go look and see where they're finding that lithium to make those
Oh,
batteries.
I know.
Yes.
I'm on this energy committee, and I've gone to several conferences, and the more I learn,
Awful.
oh, it's just terrible. And
Yeah.
to get our message
Awful what
out
it's doing
there
to the
is so
environment.
hard.
It's really awful.
And the children, the slave laborers, because
Yeah.
they're getting out the cobalt, all those things, and sending them to China, and they're building them there. And
People have sort of this strange idea about electricity that somehow it's like, the kite in the sky with, a string, and that it just
Benjamin
magically
Franklin.
occurs.
Yeah.
That's not how this works. Has to come from some energy source still and all.
Well, we're about out of time, and I want to make sure we have ample time to show that palm card again. But Mary, thank you so much for coming back on the show,
Thanks,
Colonel
anytime.
Mary and Melissa. My two
Thank
fine
you for having
representatives
us.
here. I hope we all win. I want to hear the
clean
word
Republican
Republican sweep.
Yes.
I've heard it twice
say.
by Madam Moderator, and I would really love to hear those words again. Republican sweep.
Stop
and Merrimack
inflation.
and
Vote Republican.
That's right.
Yes,
That's the
and
message.
New Hampshire. So we'll look at that palm card. I'll end the show. Thank you all for watching. I have one more show before Election Day, Tuesday, November 8th.